Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Dear viewers, we have a distinguished guest today in our program, Mr. Tahir from Bajor ex-Fata. He recently completed his research in MPhil History from Qaid-e-Azam University, Islamabad. Thank you, Mr. Tahir, for joining us. So my first question is, can you please tell us about Ubaidullah Sindhi's life and his education?
Pleasure. Actually, Ubaidullah Sindhi was born in 1872 at Sialkot, and he was Sikh by birth. His name was Bota Singh, and he was later on he was converted. He became Muslim by choice, and he came to Sindh, where he was brought up by his Murshid, Pir Hafiz Sadiq Muhammad Burchandi, and he was very much under the influence of his Murshid. Therefore, he called himself a Sindhi. Otherwise, he was Punjabi by blood. He was not Sindhi. Later on, he went to Ubaid, and he got a religious education from the renowned seminary of Darul Ubaid, which was founded in 1866. Although Ubaidullah Sindhi was trained in the conventional and restricted seminary of Darul Ubaid, but he was unconventional and like other religious scholars, and he got religious education from the renowned scholars such as Mahmud al-Hassan, who is popularly known as Sheikh al-Hind, Rashid Ahmad Ganguhi, etc. And Ubaidullah Sindhi was a very extraordinary student. He was from the very beginning, he was very gifted and talented in mathematics. He was very critical. Unlike other students, he was not apologetic and sympathetic toward his teachers, and he was very critical. Therefore, he was also later on expelled from the Ubaid.
Okay.
Later on, he founded some religious institutions like such as Jamiatul Ansar, Nazaratul Ma'arib, and Darul Rashad. And his main aim was to bridge the yawning gulf between modern and traditional education.
Okay. My question is the next question is, as we know about your research work, that your topic was relative political thought of Ubaidullah Sindhi and its contemporary relevance. Can you please tell us why you chosen that topic?
Yes. Basically, Ubaidullah Sindhi is very popular figure, a renowned figure, which is very misunderstood and misunderstood. And there is a lot of concussion, fabrication, misquotation, and misrepresentation in our society regarding Ubaidullah Sindhi. Basically, Ubaidullah Sindhi ideas changed with the passage of time, and certain people have presented him very secular. Certain people have portrayed him a typical Mulvi. So basically, I was interested to find out the real Ubaidullah Sindhi. Basically, initially Ubaidullah Sindhi was Pan-Islamist. He was the custodian and the follower of Pan-Islamism. And in 1915, he was sent by Sheikh al-Hind to Afghanistan and self-later movement, which was a struggle for Pan-Islamism and to liberate Hindustan from the yoke of British imperialism. He worked there for 7 years. Unfortunately, he was not succeeded in his work, and later on he went to Moscow, where he spent 8 months. And his previous idea changed drastically. There he spent 8 months, and then he went to Turkey, where he spent around about 3 years. There he made a political party by the name of Mahabharat Swaraj Party.
Okay. As you told that Ubaidullah Sindhi ideas changed with the passage of time, so can you tell us about that, or what do you think about the passage of time when Ubaidullah Sindhi's ideas changed with the passage of time?
As I mentioned earlier, initially he was a custodian of Fan Islamism, and he worked for it in Afghanistan around about for 7 years. But he went to Moscow and he spent there around about 8 months. He also met with great political leaders such as the Foreign Minister of Russia, Chechen, and then he went to Turkey. There he met with Mustafa Kemal Atatürk, and he was very much under the influence of Mustafa Kemal Atatürk as well. So later on he dissociated himself from Pan-Islamism, and he worked for democracy, and he was in favor of democracy, and he was also under the influence and inspired from British institutions such as their discipline of army and institution as well. So then he said that we should focus on the spirit of government rather than the form of government. And he made two political parties, one in 1924, Mahabharat Swaraj Party, and another in 1939, Jamna Narbar Singh Sagar Party. And he had given a comprehensive manifesto of both his party.
My last question is, how you look to Sindhi's thought in the present society or present context?
Actually, Sindhi thoughts are very relevant in the present society. If we apply and relate his thought in the present society, we can easily solve our lingering and long-standing problems of religious political problems, such as he talked about different issues such as religious issue and political issues, such as he talked about madrasa education, reforms in madrasa education, religious Brahmanism, patronage politics, provincial autonomy, etc. Moreover, he said that Muslims never internalize and realize their problems, and they did not change themselves with the evolving circumstances, such as the Ottoman Empire and the Safavid Empire. They did not change themselves with the evolving circumstances. They banned printing press, like the Ottoman Empire. King Bayezid to ban printing press. Similarly, Mughal Empire also banned printing press, and there was no regard for intellectual curiosity while British were advancing in ocean and navigation. Resultantly, the sophisticated technology of Mughal trumped the old biology of the sophisticated technology of British trumped the old biology of Mughals.
Okay, I want to add one thing more about Mughal era, especially Jalaluddin Akbar and Aurangzeb Alamgir. Can you please tell us what were views of Ubaidullah Sindhi about Jalaluddin Akbar and Aurangzeb Alamgir? Can you compare or something? Tell us.
Yes, sir. Basically, Ubaidullah Sindhi approach was a very humanistic and anthropocentric centric approach rather than theocentric. Like a historian, he looked to everything critically. Like if we think about Akbar, he also appreciated the religious eclecticism and pluralism of Akbar, due to which he avoided Shia Sunni and Hindu Muslim conflicts. On the other hand, he also criticized him due to the wrong interpretation of Wahdatul Wujud. Similarly, he also appreciated Aurangzeb Alamgir, who elevated the Mughal Empire to an international level. And he was a very pluralistic and progressive,
broad-minded
leader,
religious, socio or political
leader. Unfortunately, in the academia, Aurangzeb has presented very negatively
badly
that he abolished Hindu temples. Nonetheless, in the Aurangzeb era, there were many Hindus who were appointed in different posts.
Yes. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate your efforts about Ubaidullah Sindhi's thoughts and his life. Thank you so much again.